Today I'm making Sukhdi or Gol Papdi, which is a beloved Gujarati sweet, and turns out is also a pretty old recipe. There is a mention of Gol Papdi in a 16th century book called the Varanaka Samuchaya. So this was super exciting for me to know that not only is this a family favorite and also my absolute favorite Gujarati sweet, that it's also a very old, at least a 500-year-old recipe. So let's go ahead and make it. And I'm going to show you my family's slightly non-traditional way of making it. And let's get started. Start by melting some ghee in a pan under medium-low heat. Careful how high your heat is set. Make sure it is on medium-low, because if it is too hot, the sukhdi will burn. Monitor the sukhdi. Monitor the ghee, because you don't want to walk away from this. Don't let the ghee get too hot. You're just waiting for it to melt. When the ghee is melted, add the rotli flour or atta. This is finely ground whole wheat flour, and mix well. The flour will just start melting into the ghee and create a paste. And set a timer for 5 minutes. And this is not traditional at all, but my family adds a half cup of almond flour. And this was something my mom developed because she was trying to make healthier sukhdi. When we were kids, my grandpa had diabetes, but sukhdi was his favorite dessert. So she started adding some almond flour. Well, it was actually ground up almonds that she used, but it's delicious. It adds just a subtle nutty flavor, and oh, it's so good. So highly recommend adding the almond flour to your sukhdi. But if you want a more traditional recipe, just use 1.5 cups of rotli non lot or whole wheat flour, and that works just fine too. Okay, that looks good. Add the jaggery. Give that a good mix. While the jaggery is melting, add some cardamom, a half teaspoon, and you can optionally add some ginger. My mom adds some dried ground ginger in the winter to give it a warmer background. And since it is winter, I'm going to add my ginger. You can also add a little bit of nutmeg if you like. And just give it a good mix until the jaggery melts and brings everything together. I'm going to switch to my tabeto because it just gives me more leverage and I can scrape up anything that is sticking. Okay, this looks good. Let's put it into our mold. Okay, just press that in. Use a smaller spatula to make sure that the edges are firmly pressed together and that the whole thing is densely packed. This will ensure that the sukhdi doesn't crumble too much when you form the squares. And you can do it the traditional way and use a thari as well. But I like to use this square pan to get as perfect squares as I possibly can. I'm going to score my sukhdi, so I'm not cutting all the way through. I'm just outlining the cuts, trying to make them as even as I can, but don't worry about it too much. Now I'm going to let this cool for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then we'll come back and cut the squares. We don't want it to be completely cold. Just let it set a little bit. So I'm going to walk away for 10 minutes, and then I'll come and cut the squares. Okay, so this has cooled for a little bit. I'm going to turn it. Lift this up. Okay, I'm just going to cut gently. Be sure to do this while it's still warm. Okay. So there it is, sukhdi. And oh, I'm so excited to try it. So good. So simple. And oh, my favorite. So happy. It means sukh means happiness, and this indeed brings happiness. I hope you enjoy it and follow me for more Indian food.